Welcome to Portland's Memorial Coliseum. Rice Chronicles, and Mike Rice takes a look at NBA coach. Spolstra. Our one-on-one guest tonight is Rick Adelman. Mr. Robinson with assistant shooting for Steve Jones is one of the great coaches and teachers in the history of.
It's a great occasion for me.
Well, an awful lot of people have been wondering what fans here think the team deserves. What's the view?
To look at the record to see that. They've gotten out of the... they have the respect of the entire Eastern basketball community. The fans, however, it's like when we won the championship, they weren't sure where Oregon was. So I think it's going to take a while for Blazers are right now the top team in the NBA and certainly a team to be reckoned with when you get to playoff time.
Jack Ramsey has several jobs now, one of which is in the Eastern Division this year. Injuries have set that.
I don't think Philadelphia is a contender. Covered from that. Ricky Green has done a good job. Andre Turner has filled in admirably, but you need quality people if you're going to be a contending team. Plus, I don't Rick Mahorn into the post position. They acquired Manute Bol, and while those are all good players, I don't think it makes them a true contending team. Charles Barkley is a force. He can do it all. He's a power, but I don't think they're up there with Detroit, Chicago, and Boston.
The trading deadline passed this past week, and the team that made all the big deals this year was Seattle. Your assessment of that transformation?
Well, I think Seattle benefited from what they did. They got Ricky Pierce and Benoit Benjamin, and I think it moves them up a notch in quality at two positions. I would take Ricky Green at the two-guard position over Ellis, and I would take Benoit Benjamin over Polanyi. I don't think it makes them a contending team, but it makes them better. And the other guys, try as they might to make trades, weren't able to do it. Salary cap, the unequalness of trades that teams thought they were giving too much and not getting enough, that kind of thing. But salary cap was a big factor.
And if you ever ask the trivia question, which coach in college and pro ranks combined has won the most games? The answer is Jack Ramsey. We've got a trivia question for you, a short break, and then we come up with the first of our regular features, the Rice Chronicle.
Hey, beautiful.
If something amazing happens to you, isn't it great to be able to share it with a friend? Whether they're near or far, give them a call on GTE.
Yes, it's some days you just have to fight them off.
You know, having your own apartment is no piece of cake. I mean, you gotta buy a lot of stuff. Things you never even considered. Like floor mops, irons, pot holders, frying pans. You even have to buy your own shower curtain. Lovely. Yep, this independent living has opened up a whole new world. In fact, who knows? Next week, we might even try washing a load of clothes.
Payless Drugstore, helping you get the most out of life.
The times I can't forget, heroes, my friend. I know that it's all forever. The real thing, talking about the real thing. Oh, you know it when you see it, you know it when you feel it, you know it when you taste it. Coca-Cola Classic, beats the real thing.
If it makes you nervous to have someone my size in your face, now you know how your kid feels when you're in his.
Differences within the coaches of the NBA, different personalities, different coaching styles. Now there's a new trend for hiring of NBA coaches. 5 years ago, 42% of the NBA coaches were ex-players. Today, 14 of the 27 coaches either have had ABA or NBA experiences. It all started in the summer of '89 when 1/3 of the NBA coaches were fired in an 11-month period. 5 of the new hirees were ex-players. This started a new trend, and today, 65% of the 14-player coaches in the NBA were playing as late as 1970. Portland's Rick Adelman, Chicago's Phil Jackson, Atlanta's Bob Weiss, Utah's Jerry Sloan, Houston's Don Chaney, Boston's Chris Ford, Washington's Wes Unseld, Charlotte's Gene Little, and the Lakers' Mike Dunleavy all were players playing in the 70s. This trend changed the thoughts of NBA owners who in the past went for big names like Jack Ramsey, Bill Fitch, Dick Motta, Hubie Brown. The resumes of these coaches were completely different than today's player coaches. The coaching themes then were X's and O's, a lot of yelling. Today, the byword is sensitivity for these new player coaches. They want to coach the way they thought they should have been coached when they were players. Dick Motta and Bill Fitch have had a lot of trouble communicating in this modern era. Sam Bowie last week said, "The coach Bill Fitch is always throwing my salary in my face. Doesn't he know everybody in the NBA gets a big salary?" Sacramento, they have the worst road record in the NBA. The players always say, "We're too tired to win on the road. We're always practicing too much." The players now get 53% of the revenue of the NBA. So the modern coaches use a more family approach. Less yelling, more understanding. And if that sounds like Dr. Spock, it probably is. But remember, Dr. Spock didn't always have the answers for the modern-day young adult. Billy Cunningham, Doug Moe, Mike Fratello, they were always in-between type coaches. They were in between the yelling period and let the players have more freedom period. There's a new group that really fits into that category. Mike Schuler, Larry Brown, Rich Adebayo, Bill Musselman. They all lose their voices occasionally. They're not sure how much freedom to let the players have. They're all great X's and O men, but they're close to being the dinosaurs. The present-day coaches have had a combination of coaching talent and sensitivity. They're the guys that are going to make it in the NBA, although they're from the past. Chuck Daly, Cotton Fitzsimmons, Casey Jones, Del Harris, Don Nelson. They're all guys that know how to take the egos of the modern players and put their own egos on the doorstep on the way into practice. They know how to keep the player happy, but at the same time, they know how to discipline the players out on the court. What are the owners looking for in today's world? Well, I'm not sure, but when the Boston Celtics and the Denver Nuggets went out and looked for college coaches, they weren't sure if Mike Krzyzewski, could you see him telling Larry Bird, we need more weak side help, you're not taking the right shots? Or how about John Thompson telling Michael Jordan, if he were the Olympic coach, Michael, you're not hustling up and down the court enough. I think today's owners are looking for the type of coaches that can handle players and also know the NBA a little better. Al McGuire said, no all-star NBA team is going to win the Olympic gold medal. He said they need a college coach that can put together a system. I completely disagree with him. Chuck Daly could take an NBA all-star team, the one that was in the NBA all-star team, for instance, this year. If he had him for 1 week, he'd beat anybody in the world and win the gold medal. The NBA right now is a different animal in the 1990s. Portland Trail Blazers, they have the right type of coaching staff that could win championships for years to come. NBA in the 90s, it's completely different.
Portland's Memorial Coliseum, where tonight the Portland Trail Blazers take on the San Antonio Spurs. And we may ask Jack Ramsey, our guest analyst, about some of Mike Rice's comments a little later during the play-by-play of tonight's ball game. We asked Jack earlier about publicity for the Trailblazers back east, and he said that among the NBA people, they know how good the Trailblazers are. But what about the national publicity and respect for this team? Monica Spolster has a look on Spotlight.
Slowly but surely, the Blazers' impressive play has moved them into the NBA spotlight. Here's more on the attention they've been receiving around the country and even worldwide. A common thought among Blazer maniacs seems to be that the team doesn't receive the attention a top-caliber squad deserves. But if you look at it from a media standpoint, it just isn't true.
We've had an incredible amount of attention this year on our team in markets across the country. People in our area won't see that. They don't see when the paper in New Orleans or the paper in St. Louis or the paper in Dallas writes a big feature story on the Trailblazers.
Well, the Portland Trailblazers are in that zone where they take the floor every night thinking and knowing that they're going to win.
Cable sports shows have been singing Portland's praises most of the season. NBA Entertainment and NBC's Inside Stuff have both visited the Rose City. ABC Sports with Dick Schaap featured Clyde Drexler in the Blazer via Scholastic Improvement Concepts program. National publications such as the Sporting News and the National have made the Blazers their cover stories. Sports Illustrated picked Portland to win the NBA championship and later featured the streaking Blazers after their sensational start. The only complaint Blazer fans might have with Sports Illustrated is that Bill Laimbeer and Magic Johnson grace the covers of the issues those articles appeared in. The one place where basketball's best team has been overlooked is from national television game coverage, and market size is the reason why.
You know, a team like Portland isn't always going to get that kind of respect, but that's more from a financial and a dollar standpoint. You know, will people in Wichita, Kansas turn on the TV on Sunday afternoon to watch the Portland Trailblazers? They're not nearly as likely to do that as they are the Chicago Bulls or Los Angeles Lakers. That's just a reality, and it's something that probably won't change regardless of how many championships we win.
Respect from the media? Maybe, maybe not. But bit by bit, the Trailblazers' tremendous play this season has resulted in some major steps towards publicity for the team. After all, this year's NBA All-Star Game in Charlotte found 3 Blazers in the Western Conference lineup under the guidance of their very own head coach, Rick Adelman. So indeed, there's hope for Blazer fans who want to see their team finally get the recognition they deserve. Across the world, the team has attracted the attention of the China News. At home, Sports Illustrated picks Clyde Drexler for the NBA's Olympic Dream Team. And even national television will get a look at Portland not once, but at least twice this year, with NBC broadcasts of the Blazers' March game in Boston and the April home game against the Los Angeles Lakers.
A toast to Oregon's vineyards. Life should be like a fine wine, savored and enjoyed to the fullest. That is possible with Oregon's Megabucks lottery game. Just one of your dollars buys 2 chances at $1 million. With the original plan, relax and become richer over 20 years. or take half the jackpot in cash immediately with Investor's Choice. Either way, a rich and full life. When people ask me how I know so much about Megabucks, I tell them I heard it through the grapevine.
What comes with the 91 Toyota Corolla LE Extra Value Package? A lot of valuable extras that can add up to a savings of $1,000, plus factory-to-dealer incentives.
Hillbilly. %100% whole wheat. Roman meal. Cracked wheat. Premium white.
Yes, I'm glad that Scott Lynn finally came over to KEX. It was nice to watch him on TV, but I'd rather hear him on the radio.
Scott Lynn and Sportsline.
People have an opportunity to call in, voice their opinion, ask questions. Scott is very knowledgeable about sports. He's been around for a long time, and he knows what he's talking about.
Well, you got him fooled, Scott.
If I was making any bets, I'd probably talk to him first.
That may not be such a safe bet.
He really makes you feel like your opinion is important when it comes to the topic of sports.
In fact, your opinion is the most important one. Call me.
Scott Lynn on 1190 KEX.
I'm talking with Rick Adelman, coach of the Portland Trailblazers. Rick, it's a long distance from Temecula College to the NBA, and you did it in one quantum broad jump. What's the difference?
Well, Jack, it's a big difference. In the NBA, as you know, the players are so good that you've got to give them some flexibility and let them play their game, but within a system that you feel is going to work for them and be successful for the team. In junior college or any college situation, I think you have to have more control over them and make sure the right people are going to get the shots for you, because you don't have the overall talent, and I think you're going to have to be a little bit more disciplined in what you do. But I still find that when you have players, you treat players the same way, no matter if it's college or the pros.
All right. Now, this team, Rick, is a far cry from the team that you saw when you joined the Blazers as my assistant. What's happened? What do you think are the key additions to this club that has made it so successful?
Well, there's a couple of things. I think when you look at our core group, when you were here with, even Terry and Jerome and Clyde and Duckworth wasn't here yet, but those four people have been here for a number of years now together, and they've developed, they've grown and matured in this league, and now, all of them are very good players in this league. They all have an identity now. And then we've added Buck Williams and Cooper and Ainge and Walter Davis. And with the core group, that makes this team special, I think, because with our players, our core people have really matured. And now you add these other people who are good players, too, and you've got yourself a very fine team.
You do have a fine team, Rick, and a team that, in my opinion, is very well coached. You seem to keep a loose rein on these guys. I watched you at shoot-around. Those were far different shoot-arounds than the ones that I conducted, but I think they're very productive. Tell me your philosophy on shoot-arounds day of the game.
I think it really depends on the team you have. We have a lot of veterans who prepare themselves very well. They practice hard. When we need them to get serious, they get serious. But, I don't feel it's necessary to have a real structure in our shoot-arounds. They know what they need to do to prepare. As long as they're serious about preparing and looking at what the other team's doing and they're ready to play, then that's fine. And I think I can read these guys pretty good, and they know when it's time to get serious and when it's time to kind of relax.
Now, this team, I've been asked to compare this team with the championship team on many occasions. If you had to do it, what would you say is the principal difference between the two teams?
Well, I think the team you had was a great passing team. They really played well together. Walton was the key. Everything surrounded him defensively and offensively. I think we probably have better athletes overall on this team. We're quicker. We do defensively, we do things as a team and not rely on one big guy to block shots and help you out. and we pass the ball and run a little passing game and not so much through our center. Our center's a scorer on our team. So I think it's different. We have probably more physical talent, but your team is probably much better coached.
I'm not sure that's true, Rick. Rick, tell me about the air travel. Now, most teams in the NBA have gone to their own charter travel service, and everybody that I talk to says this is a huge factor. Do you subscribe to that theory?
Jack, it really is. I think our players believe it, number one. When you can go to a place and you pick the time you're going to leave, after a game we get out of town right away and get to the next city, so I think we're much more rested than we normally would be. But I think the biggest thing is charter for us has brought our team closer. After the game, the guys get on the plane, they talk about the game. They get a feeling amongst each other that you don't get when you're staying in the city and they all go their separate ways after a game. I think that's the biggest difference RC. This team is very close because we charter and they're together so much. And I think I didn't realize that was going to happen until we start chartering, and you really can see the difference with our team.
Now, if you had to take that away, would it be missed?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we went one trip in the exhibition. Our guys were complaining all over the place. In fact, going back to the All-Star games, Terry asked me, where's Blazer 1 at? It's a big factor.
All right, Rick, you have 27 games left, only 10 at home after tomorrow night. Are you ready for this stretch drive?
Well, if we continue to play like we did against Phoenix, I think we'll be okay. If Jerome can stay healthy and we stay healthy as a team, I think we're going to be able to play with anybody.
And I think you're right. That's Rick Adelman. I'm Jack Ramsey.
Portland's Memorial Coliseum. Both teams are now on the floor, and the house here is already rocking as the Trailblazers meet the San Antonio Spurs. If you're going to put together a perfect game plan for meeting San Antonio, you'd probably go back to the first meeting of the year between these two teams. It's a quarter that none of us will ever forget. The best quarter of basketball I have ever seen. The Blazers outscored the Spurs 49-18. Let's talk about tonight's game plan. Mike Rice with assistant coach Jack Shallow.
Well, it's Sunday evening, and we have San Antonio. A couple nights ago, Jack, it was Phoenix, and it was your show.
That's right. Now you got it back.
I got it back. San Antonio, pretty tough team. Larry Brown has had a couple injuries.
Well, Cummings has been hurt for a little while, and then Rod Strickland got in a bar fight and broke his thumb, so he's going to be out for a while, and that should hurt them. But they're a very, very strong team, and they've got a lot of talent.
They're not just a one-man team, then?
No, they're not. Sean Elliott's a very, very good shooter. Willie Anderson can score, can shoot the ball outside, take the ball to the basket. So they've got some people off the bench, and Sidney Green, some veterans that can really play the game, and they're on our heels, and they're a type of team that we're going to have to beat. Phoenix, the Lakers, and San Antonio are the three teams I think that we have to worry about the most.
Because their conference is a little weaker because of injuries, might their record be better than anyone else at the end of the year?
Well, it could be. I'm hoping that ours will be, but they're a team that has the capabilities of winning a lot of games.
Well, let's take a look at San Antonio's offense. The NBA has teams exchange tape. We've got a tape. San Antonio is in the black uniforms. Who are they playing tonight?
Hold it right here. They're playing New Jersey, and you'll see Sam Bowie in this ball game. They use their big men in their transition to try to get some screens for Willie Anderson and Sean Elliott, because they're the two best shooters they have besides David Robinson. And you'll see that the ball will get into one of those three guys' hands before anybody else touches it. And that's pretty good thinking, because if you're going to get a shot, you want your best shooters to shoot the ball. So you'll see Sidney Green coming. Sean Elliott's going to come off. If he's open, he will shoot the jump shot, and he has an opportunity to pass it to Willie Anderson, who's a great shooter over here. And if he's not open, they're going to give it into David Robinson right there. He's also a very good passer. So when he gets the ball, Sean will break down. Willie Anderson will come and receive the ball. You see Willie coming right here, and they come out on him, and he takes the ball to the basket and scores. He's a very, very good scorer. Now, the second play, you'll see David Robinson is set up for him. Hold it right there. David Robinson comes here. He is not a physical player, and most people tried to bump him, and he had a hard time getting in the position that he wanted to receive the ball in. So what they decided to do, they set a back pick with a big guy, and you see Sam's going to be able to fight through. And once he gets down here, they'll have a guard come across and set a back pick right over here. Now, you can't switch that second pick, because you'd have a guard guarding David Robinson in the low post position, and you're going to get killed. So what happens is he's going to get position, because they're going to knock Sam off a little bit. Now, he can step across here or turn around and shoot that fadeaway jump shot, and he's dynamite. He really has a great touch.
Well-designed offense. How about their defense?
Okay, hold it right there. Defensively, They are a very good defensive team for the simple reason they've got a shot blocker inside that is very, very quick. They can put more pressure on the perimeter people. If the ball gets by him, a guy drives by, David Robinson can reject the shot. And he is so good at rejecting it and keeping it in play like Bill Russell used to do. So you'll see in here sometimes they'll get the ball in position, and the low post player thinks that he's got a great chance. In this case, it's Derek Coleman's going to post up against him. Hold it right there. We have an advantage because you see David Robinson will not pop out and to stop the man from receiving the ball. If we can get Duckworth the shot right here, he's a very, very good shooter. So David Robinson's got to come away from the basket, and we can run a couple picks across here and get some people open without having David Robinson right down our throat. But see, the ball's going to go inside now to Cummings. David Robinson, he makes a good move, gets David Robinson off balance, but he's so quick, he still gets back and blocks the shot. That's called defense.
Yeah, that's big time. You know, you were mentioning Kevin Duckworth. Boy, I've been watching him. The coaching staff has really done a great job working on his pivot moves.
Well, you know, we work with the big people all the time, but if a player does not want to work and really develop his game, you can go through all the drills you want, it's not ever going to happen. All of our big people have improved because they really want to be good, and they have to get all the credit for that because, as you know, as the next coach, players have to want it, and when they work at it and concentrate and really do it game speed, game conditions, then they're going to improve, and that's what Kevin's done, that's what Ala, that's what Buck Williams, Jerome Kersey, all the guys inside have really worked and improved their game that way.
Yeah, injury-wise, we talked about injuries. Strickland is out, and Charles Barkley was out for a while. It hasn't really seemed to have hurt the Trailblazers as much when a good player goes out.
Well, we've got depth. I mean, sometimes I sit at home and I think we've got Buck Williams, Danny Ainge, and Walter Davis, and we haven't had to give up real top players. Sam Bowie we had to give up, but he was injured at the time. So, you know, I used to get upset when the Lakers used to get all these good players to add to their depth, and now we're doing it. But we are hurt when Terry Porter's out or Buck Williams, but not as much as other teams because we have better depth.
Well, it's the depth of the Blazers versus the San Antonio Spurs. We won't see much double teaming. They're going to let Duckworth fight through those picks. We'll take a look at the Admiral and see how he does. Sean Elliott's a good one. Should be a great ball game. Jack Shallow, a win?
Yes, we're going to win.
Definitely. There it is. It's not the Swami, it's Jack Shallow. It should be a great ball game, San Antonio Spurs.
Cold filtered, Miller Genuine Draft. For those who've discovered its real draft taste, the world is a very cool place.
You know what I mean? Take a firm stand. Ice. They'll know immediately say what we need. You got it. E. One choice. And be firm. Ice. But flexible. Just in case. Options. We're warned there's more on.
Business these days is more stressful than ever.
Check.
And it's tougher than ever on traveling executives. Fortunately, on Alaska Airlines, we make sure you can work or relax without unnecessary turbulence.
Susan, you got a minute?
Oh, sorry, Dan. I really don't. I need to leave early today. What do you think? Oh, that's perfect. Now, do you know where I can find party favors?
Happy birthday! I wish I had my new bike.
You'll find it at Freddy's.
Everyone knows that certain things are good for you. But did you know that plastic wrap can help a disabled child walk? Or that margarine can help a disabled adult get around? Well, it's true. When you buy specially marked Back-A-Fighter products between now and March 31st, you contribute to Easter seals. So stop by your grocer soon, because it's truly wonderful what paper towels can do.
Last year, these teams, Portland and San Antonio, had one of the most exciting and dramatic series in the history of the Portland Trailblazer franchise. Maybe the most dramatic since the '77 championship thriller with the Philadelphia 76ers. They meet for the second time tonight here at the Memorial Coliseum. That's tonight's NBA report. Thanks for joining us. All the play-by-play excitement is coming right up.
The following is a Blazer Broadcasting sports presentation. This is Portland Trailblazer basketball. Executive Producer Director of Trailblazer Basketball, George Wash. Coordinating Producer, J.R. Hellman.
Live from Portland's Memorial Coliseum, Blazer Broadcasting presents NBA basketball. Tonight, the Portland Trailblazers host the San Antonio Spurs. Hello again, everyone. I'm Pat Lafferty. With me, a special guest analyst, former Trailblazer coach, Jack Ramsey. And indeed, this is a special place for Jack Ramsey, and he helped make it a very special hall. They called it the house that Jack built. Ramsey came here in 1976 after a brilliant career at St. Joseph's, where his teams won 234 games in 11 years. His Trailblazer team in 76-77 won the NBA title. 49 wins, 33 losses, and playoff victories over Denver, Los Angeles, and finally Philadelphia. And of course, the following year, 50 wins and only 10 losses before injuries decimated what may have been the best individual squad in the 1970s. Ramsey's NBA teams ended up with 864 wins, the second highest total in the history of this game. His college and pro total, 1,098 victories. A pleasure to have you with us.
Well, as I say, Pat, I'm thrilled to be here. This recalls great recollections for me. This house, the fans, the red warm-ups of the Blazers, and it didn't really matter who was playing at the other end.
All I know is ever since you came in, attractive women have been coming up and giving you big hugs and kisses.
Well, that's one of the perk benefits of the job.
Thoughts and a quick overview on what we'll see tonight, Portland, San Antonio.
Well, I know the Blazers are going to want to jump on them, as they did in an early season game when they opened up the game with, I think, a 49-18 first period. They'd like to have that kind of game. Of course, the Spurs don't want it. So the Spurs will try and control the ball against the Blazers, not walk it up. But I watched their shoot-around today. Larry Brown's emphasis was on defense. He doesn't think they've been defending very well. He doesn't think they've been stopping people going to the basket. I would expect to see the Spurs defend tougher, try to control the tempo of this game, and the Blazers, on the contrary, run it at them, get it down the floor, and get breaks before the Spurs can set up their defense.
Let's go to center court. Marta Minetti-Supli and America the Beautiful.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to stand and join Marta Minetti-Supli in honoring America and our troops serving abroad with America the Beautiful.
Marta Minetti-Suplee, who is a member of the Portland Trailblazer marketing staff. America the Beautiful. Now Mike Stone with tonight's starting lineups.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here are the starting lineups for tonight's game. First, for the visiting San Antonio Spurs. At one forward from University of Nevada, Las Vegas, 6'9", number 21, Sidney Green. At the other forward from Arizona, 6'8", number 32, Sean Elliott. At center for the Spurs, from Navy, 7'1", number 50, David Robinson. At one guard, out of Tulsa, 6'5", number 8, Paul Peresi. And starting at the other guard, from Georgia, 6'8", number 40, Willie Anderson. The trainer for the Spurs is John Anderson. Assistant coaches are Greg Popovich and R.C. Buford. And the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs, Larry Brown. And now the Portland Trail Blazers. And one forward from Longwood College, 6'7", number 25, Jerome Kersey. At forward from Maryland, 6'8", number 52, Buck Williams. The center from Eastern Illinois, 7'00", Kevin Duckworth. And one guard, University of Houston, 6'7", number 22, Clyde Drexler. And the other guard, Wisconsin, Stephen Point, 6'3", number 30, Terry Porter. The Portland trainer is Mike Schmitzky, assistant coaches Jack Shallow and John Wetzel, and the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers, Rick Adelman.
You want the best. Fortune magazine calls Toyota the best car maker in the world. And with huge factory incentives, your Toyota dealers are making the best deals. Camrys, Corollas, 4x4s, 4Runners, Previa vans. But with the best deals on the best cars and trucks, selection won't last long.
Yeah, you want the best. And we've got it right here in the great Northwest.
See your Portland Metro Toyota dealer before March 4th.
So, what sounds good for dinner? Oh. See your grocer for these great fur crust recipes.
What are you waiting for? The Horizon Shuttle has flights every half hour between Portland and Seattle. The Horizon Shuttle. Why wait for anything else?
There go the birds, still shopping the same old way. The Johnsons know a better way. While the birds are getting frazzled, running from store to store, losing their tempers, losing their children.
Where's Jimmy? We lost Jimmy.
The Johnsons are finding everything they need in one easy stop at Fred Meyer. And they're home long before the birds. One-stop shopping makes sense. Any other kind is strictly for the birds.
It's tough being a kid sister sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
How about something real special, just for you?
Thanks, Dad.
Friends, we've been a friend of your family for over 80 years. Life around here is a little more complicated these days, which is why I'm always looking for ways to uncomplicate things. When I go shopping,
I want to be able to get there fast,
No problem.
find what I want,
Sure.
and get things wrapped up quickly and painlessly. That's why having a Payless handy makes such a difference. Because in this family, even a simple trip to the store is anything but simple.
Payless Drugstore, helping you get the most out of life.
We Brits are learning your American football. Right, Joe?
Yeah, right.
The other way! Catch the ball!
And after practice, we drink a great American beer. Miller Lite.
Miller Lite, with its crisp, refreshing Pilsner taste, it's everything you want in a beer today.
What are they doing now?
They're practicing touchdowns.
You know, ever since the new BP stations have come on the scene, big things have been happening. Millions of customers have been pulling in. You see, more and more drivers are discovering that high-octane BP Super Gasoline cleans their entire fuel intake system. So while our new stations have brought everyone in, it's BP Performance that brings everyone back. It sure is nice to be so popular.
BP on the move.
Tune in to Payless Photo Electronics.
You need two hands to count all the special rates and discounts on Allstate car insurance. For more than one car, pickup trucks, anti-lock brakes, airbags, good drivers, excellent drivers with Allstate home insurance, and retired drivers over 55. Pick up a phone and call an Allstate agent for details. For lots of ways to save, you're in good hands with Allstate.
Allstate.
Yes, I'm glad that Scott Lynn finally came over to KEX. It was nice to watch him on TV, but I'd rather hear him on the radio.
Scott Lynn in Sports Time.
People have an opportunity to call in, voice their opinion, ask questions. Scott is very knowledgeable about sports. He's been around for a long time, and he knows what he's talking about.
Well, you got him fooled, Scott.
If I was making any bets, I'd probably talk to him first.
That may not be such a safe bet.
He really makes you feel like your opinion is important when it comes to the topic of sports.
In fact, your opinion is the most important one. Call me.
Scott Lynn on 1190 KEX.
Portland's Memorial Coliseum, where two of the NBA's best, Portland and San Antonio, hooked up in a defensive duel, and the Spurs leading at intermission 46-42 thanks to 14 points from Willie Anderson. Coaches appreciate great defense, Jack, and that's what these teams have played tonight.
Well, we remarked before the game, Pat, that the Spurs would like to control the tempo of this game. If this game were to have the same kind of second half, we'd have a 92-84 Spur victory. Now, when was the last time the Blazers scored that few points, unless it was at Sacramento, right? Where Dick Motta would try to play the same kind of game. So Larry Brown has to be pleased with this, but it's not the kind of game that Rick Adelman wants. Rick wants to really run the ball.
Let's take a look at first half highlights.
All right, we said one of the strengths of David Robinson was that he gets up and down the floor quickly. Here's Paul Pressey hitting ahead to David Robinson as he beat Duckworth by 2 full strides. And Sidney Green getting his first start in many a week. Gets a nice pass here from Willie Anderson. Where are you, Sidney? I know you're going to get it here somewhere. Right there. Takes it up and through the basket very strong. Sidney's played well. Now the Blazers got back in the game with some good defense. Jerome Kersey had a couple of steals. He makes a play here, giving off to Terry Porter, going right to the basket. But Jerome got the steal to initiate that play. Now Clyde. One of the big things about Clyde Drexler is that he pursues the ball, and you've got to keep your concentration on him at the offensive board. Sean Elliott's going to get a little bump right here from Terry Cummings. Watch him come off and line up a jump shot all by himself. He won't miss many of those. David Robinson, what a force. He powers into the basket, misses, and right back at it. He follows his own shot better than anybody in the NBA except maybe Charles Barkley. All right, there's a penetration by Terry Porter. Hands off to Kevin Duckworth, who shoots that little jump hook of his right in the hole. Cliff Robinson driving left. We commented earlier against the best shot blocker in basketball. Cliff Robinson got not only the score, but he got the foul as well. Now the Spurs on the run. Willie Anderson getting a nice pass from Avery Johnson and gets the score. There's Buck Williams, always a force at the offensive board. Shoots right in the basket area on a great pass from Danny Ainge. Missed the shot, but stays right with it, gets the score and the foul. The end of the second period. Terry Porter lining up a three and burying it. So we have our final result of the half, 46-42 Spurs. Blazers have to rev it up.
And we'll be back with a special halftime feature in just a moment.
It wasn't that long ago. People used to buy a new car every 2 years. But these days, they want their car to last. Unical's unleaded 92 keeps an engine clean and running right longer.
Fill her up with 92, Murph.
And with the price of cars today, that's important.
Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. For those who discovered its real draft taste, the world is a very cool place.
All my drinks, number no fire.
Lots of food stores claim to give you the lowest prices. But take a closer look, and their claims turn out to be rather empty. If you're busy with family and work and don't have time to gamble on grocery claims, come to Fred Meyer. We put the proof in the bag. You'll find thousands of low prices on groceries and the freshest produce and meats guaranteed. Rely on true minimum pricing at Fred Meyer. It's a simpler way to save.
Toyota presents the Fairy Godmother?
Hey, it's a living. Now here's the deal. You buy one of these. Toyota, it's one great truck and that's no fairy tale. Then magic. I'm talking options. Power steering, fancy radio, cloth seats, chrome bumpers, tinted glass, the works. You can save hundreds on the truck you've always wanted. I've even got factory-to-dealer incentives. But you gotta buy before midnight or I'll turn you into a pumpkin.
I love what you do for me, Toyota.
This is my 26th year of coaching. I've never seen a game like that. The first quarter, I think it was the best played first quarter that anybody could ever expect.
It was more than anyone expected or even imagined. Superlatives like phenomenal, astounding, perfect, flawless, and beautiful were being spoken in the Coliseum after the first quarter. And why not? Portland outscored one of the NBA's best teams 49-18 by hitting 22 of 25 field goal attempts. Clyde Drexler was one of the ringleaders with 15 points, 4 block shots, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, and 2 steals.
Why? Load it up. Why not? Why not?
It was contagious. It was a contagious effort. You see a guy like your superstar diving for balls and blocking shots on the weak side, and it just picks up for the rest of the team. Clyde's a great leader on this team, and I think that his intensity level just carried over to everybody else, including the guys on the bench.
had a club record 10 assists during the streak. Kevin Duckworth went 6 for 6 from the floor. Everybody got in on the fun.
Pretty unbelievable. But it was a lot of fun. It's kind of like, I guess we were going up and down the court like Jim was supposed to do it, but playing good defense, too. So that was the key. We really played good defense, and we were just able to get out and run and get some easy baskets.
Drexler in the middle. Kersey to Perla, score!
So have you ever been exposed to that good a quarter in basketball?
No, not at all. I don't think too many players are.
Blazer Cable continues with first half stats in a moment.
It was awful. My car broke down and no one would stop to help. Worse, I was out of state and the repair place insisted on cash. Oh, for a friendly face. Thank goodness I bank at First Interstate. And thank goodness for Anna Moreno. Without a hitch, she cashed my personal First Interstate check and helped me find a nearby mechanic to fix my car. Now that's extra mile service.
If you want extra mile service, come to First Interstate Bank. We go the extra mile for you, guaranteed.
We Brits are learning your American football. Right, Joe?
Yeah, right. The other way! Catch the ball!
And after practice, we drink a great American beer. Miller Lite. Miller Lite, with its crisp, refreshing Pilsner taste, it's everything you want in a beer today.
What are they doing now?
They're practicing touchdowns.
It's halftime at Portland's Memorial Coliseum. San Antonio leading the Trailblazers 46-42. Well, as we found out here tonight before the ball game, Jack Ramsey has an awful lot of friends, and dozens of people came by to say hello, and Jack asked how you and your family were doing and what you're doing now. And of course, many of our viewers want to know too. So let's get caught up to date on Jack Ramsey.
Well, I do this kind of work for the 76ers on their home games, and they do all their home games, Pat. So I live in Ocean City, New Jersey, except in the winter when I commute back and forth to Florida. I come up and do the games. If I have 2 games in a week, I'll usually stay up and go to my Ocean City home and then just drive back and forth to do the Sixer games. I enjoy that. It's a lot of fun for me. It keeps me close to the game. And then in the summer, I do clinics for the NBA, coaches clinics that are mostly in Europe, but I think this year we might go to Australia and Brazil as well. And we'll do maybe 9 or 10 of those. So that keeps me pretty busy and keeps me involved in the game, and I'm having a nice life.
How much do you miss Oregon?
Oh, this was one of the great times of my life living out here. I loved Oregon, the climate, which was good for me. You know, I don't care whether it rains or not. I like to be outside and running and riding my bike and doing that kind of thing. The only thing that bothered me a little bit about Oregon was the water temperature on the coast. You know, that's cold water, and I had a hard time swimming in that. On the East Coast, I can do that. But I enjoyed my time here in Portland, especially my recollections of the fans. These are the best fans in basketball. I said it at the time, and it's still true today.
Let's take a look now at our halftime Computerland stats board. And prominent will be the name of Willie Anderson.
Yeah, Willie has it hot tonight. He has the stroke going. He's getting open, mostly because the Spurs are moving the ball well, making 4 or 5 passes to free people up. But Willie has it going. Terry Porter responding for the Blazers, but they're not getting as good opportunities as the Spurs. And the Blazers, though they are the league's best rebounding team, are just breaking even against the Spurs in rebounding, and I think that's significant. The Blazers have 8 offensive rebounds, but the Spurs have 7.
Neither team shooting well, a testimony to the defensive effort by both clubs. And coaches always love, I mean, they appreciate great offense, but they love and respect defensive work ethic.
Yeah, when you see the Blazers shooting only 38%, there are 2 things. They are getting mostly perimeter shots, which we commented about, and they are not getting to the basket. 38% is 10 notches below what the Blazers usually shoot. San Antonio usually shoots better than that, but it's not such a dramatic drop-off. We said the rebounding is breaking even, and you see the numbers to support that. And the turnovers, the Spurs average about 18 turnovers, so 8 is not bad for them. 10.5.
What's that cool going down? What's that chill rushing through you? What's that takes your breath away? That's the taste of real refreshment. That's the real love Diet Coke. That's the taste of real refreshment. Just for the taste of Diet Coke.
Payless Drug, taking time to care.
The game of football seems simple on the field, but off the field, the business of football isn't. Because players depend on trainers. Trainers depend on assistant coaches. Assistant coaches depend on the head coach. The head coach depends on the front office. All of them depend on communications. And that's why the NFL and its teams depend on GTE. Now, isn't that the kind of support your business should depend on? GTE, the telecommunications consultant to the NFL.
Do you really understand what it means to win your Oregon Lottery Megabucks, the original plan? It's like being handed a 20-year contract for a very respectable job, and you don't even have to show up for work. Staggering. 2 words, power play. Megabucks plus power play. With $1 extra, match 3 numbers and win. Match 4 or 5 and win 4 times as much. No power play? Power play.